The following is a compLexity production.
1, 2, 3, compLexity!
This is the press conference, streaming live from the Dallas Cowboys World Headquarters at the Star in Frisco.
Oh, you got a pretty serious man.
You've got questions, we've got answers. And now, your hosts, compLexity.
How's it going, everyone? Welcome to the press conference where you're going to get the answers you wouldn't get anywhere else in esports. My name is Zach, and I am bearded and feel comfortable, very happy.
The beard is back.
Yes, and it's going to continue to grow.
And you cut off your hair?
Yes.
Looking pretty sharp, really.
I'm trying to just confuse people,
Hollywood look going on.
trying to, change my identity, kind of a couple different things. Over here to my right, as always, is Kyle Beef Batista. Kyle, how are you doing this fine day?
I am also bearded, and every day that you have a beard is a good one.
It is a good one. For the two other gentlemen without beards.
Okay, this is the beardless side of the
I shaved this morning. I was pretty proud of myself.
Oh, really? Over across the table, we have our fearless leader. We have Mr. Jason Lake. Jason, we're back.
We're back.
We have lots of things to talk about.
Yeah, we got a lot. We got to get right into it.
Cool. And then over across the table, our special guest today is Mr. Daniel Herz. Daniel, remind everyone a little bit about yourself. You've been on the pod. You've been on here before.
This is my second time now.
Yep.
Yeah. So
Wow.
leading all revenue for compLexity. I feel like an expert now in this seat. The first time people were making faces at me at the glass outside, and I don't.
It'll happen again.
I don't have that issue this time, hopefully. So I'm ready now, or at least I'll be ready to do it.
Yeah, we're super excited because we brought Daniel in today because we have some very exciting things to talk about, new partnerships that we have going on, and some really cool things for the future of compLexity. We're going to be jumping into the past 2 weeks. We've had an exciting past 2 weeks, especially revolving around Counter-Strike. One of the big topics that we wanted to be able to cover, because a lot of people have been talking about it, is the iBuyPower Masters that happened over in Los Angeles. Jason was fortunate enough to be there. Jason,
Yeah, I was there. So I could talk a half an hour about this event. I always want to preface things with, when we have companies supporting the esports scene, it's really appreciated. iBuyPower has done a great job. They sponsor teams. They've had multiple events. iBuyPower is devoted to the community. The people that work at iBuyPower are devoted to the community, and they've done some really great stuff in the past. But this one was a straight up shit show. Let's just call a spade a spade. I've been to a lot of events, and this ranks as one of the worst I've ever been a part of. And I know the people that work at iBuyPower and the supporting organizations are fully aware of that. So, again, I want to preface it with, we really do appreciate them being a part of the community and for inviting us to the event. We don't want to be ungrateful, to the host of the event, but as esports develops, we need to be able to call a spade and all, try to improve together. The biggest problem that we had at the event, although there were multiple technical delays, we sat there 3 or 4 hours before they were prepared to go. There were the placement of the screen was where the players could see. There was just
crazy.
There was a lot of problems, but the problem that I really want to address and really want to focus on is the security issues. And I want to do so without beating a dead horse, because by the time this podcast comes out, this is already over a week ago. Last week we didn't get to do a press conference where I wanted to go on a mini rant about it. But we had some people out of town and we couldn't film the show. So it's already getting a little old, and I don't want to beat a dead horse, but I can't emphasize enough how important proper security measures are at esports events. Long story made fairly short, it became known that people who were coming into the event were not being screened in any way. There was no metal detector. They weren't checking bags. You basically just showed your ticket or whatever and went in. I didn't notice this when I came in. I generally don't go in the same way that the crowds do. And when I do, I'd kind of just skirt to the side and get my pass. So I hadn't even really noticed myself until we started to discover on social media that there was absolutely no security at this event. So when this started being known across social media, there were some comments made, and one specific comment alluded to a person claiming they were in the event with a gun.
Yeah. Crazy.
And I didn't even see this myself, the staff back home, Kyle and the guys saw this and were messaging me like, hey, look at this tweet, da 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 da. So now I'm kind of presented with a difficult situation. It seemed pretty apparent. The person's like from Brazil, Sao Paulo, I think. And it's like, is he really here? Does he really have a gun? But it's the sort of thing in America these days. You know, we had Drini involved in the Jacksonville incident. Not long before that, there had been a shooting in Thousand Oaks, just north of where we were in Los Angeles. It's not something you really toy with. So I went to the folks that were running the event at iBuyPower, went to the group that was running the actual theater and basically said, we're not going on the stage until we sort this out. Showed them the tweet, to which, to their credit, they took it seriously immediately. There was no just like da-da-da-da. They're like, okay, what do we do? It's like, this is serious. We have to address it. What do we do? So that was really well received. Long story, again, made semi-short. We emptied out the entire theater. So all the people that had been waiting like 3 to 4 hours for the matches to start sitting around now had to go outside and come back through, where I was helping walk around and searching bags and these things. It was, the moral of the story is esports events must take security
100%.
more seriously. And I was really shocked and disappointed to learn that they were just letting people, you know, walk into the event and be that close to our players and you know, everyone else. It was a mess. And I hope that lessons are learned and I never have to basically threaten to walk out of an event, because there's people, you know, idiots out there that are threatening violence over social media. It was one to remember in a very bad way. And, I can say without a shadow of a doubt that the mistakes that were made there will not be repeated again. iBuyPower has run multiple events in a different location where they've had great success, and you know, I don't think this was the right venue. I don't think necessarily that the tech company that was hired and the people at the Avalon Theater themselves were prepared to execute an event at this particular place. And it was a disaster. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's a little bit disappointing because as you were talking about following the event where Drini was injured down in Florida, we kind of said internally, like, we're going to be doing a much better job of thoroughly talking about levels of security in events where we know that, you know, you go to stadiums and it's like, it's going to have tons of security. But some of these smaller venues, we double check, we talk with them about their measures. And so it's disappointing to see that even after talking about something like that, that still there can be a ball dropped.
Yeah.
And it puts people at danger. But
it was shocking. And moving forward, you know, we were so busy. Lately, we've been running around their hair on fire. I can't stress enough to our fans that I really think this is going to be a huge breakout year for us. 2019 and 2020 are going to be the years of complexity. But that doesn't excuse the fact that I should have been more active in being like, you know, our players are here. What's going on? What are the security protocols? And moving forward, before we participate in any of these events, we're going to be double checking moving to make sure we're communicating beforehand and not finding out at the event that there were no, you know, proper security protocols. So, but taking a step back away from that rant and looking at the event itself, obviously we've added Jordan, Nothing Gilbert, and we've added Rick Mulholland, I believe is how you say his name, to the team. And they hadn't had a whole lot of time to practice, and their very first match as a team together on the land stage was against Astralis, which is, you know.
And there's another delay. That's the ironic thing.
This was after all the delay and then the security delay and everything else. I mean, I'm not using that as an excuse because it's Astralis, but we got hammered. And then our next match was against Fnatic, and the guys played really tight.
14-16?
Really, really could have won that match, and I was pretty optimistic. I'm like, Fnatic's roster's been together longer. They had a great run at IEM Chicago, and I was like, this brand new roster who's basically pugging right now, we haven't had enough time to really go over any kind of true strategic, you know, planning. If we're able to play with Fnatic this tight, you know, that's probably a pretty good sign. And I was optimistic. You know, everyone knows that nothing as of right now is scheduled to just be a stand-in while we sort out our roster post-major. But I was pretty excited by that performance. Even though we went 0-2 at the event, the Fnatic match gave me hope. And then, as a segue, the next week, which is just a few days ago, we were out in Atlanta for ELEAGUE.
Yep.
Kyle. So we had, It's just Jason's running these segues. I'm spectating at this.
Yeah,
No,
so we were playing best of threes against some of the best teams in the world. Again, we had Big, FaZe, and the new Cloud9 roster in attendance, and we were playing our friends Big, who are some of the best guys in Counter-Strike. We just love those guys.
They're great.
We managed to get the best of them back at the major a couple times, which helped to propel us to our legend status. But they have since made a big change and brought on Xantares, who is just a game changer and, really looks sharp. The first match we played on Overpass really surprised me because we perma-vetoed Overpass all of last year. So I'm like, wow, how the hell did we end up in Overpass? But we played them tight 16-13, I believe. Really could have swung that match. And I was like, hey, you know what? Overpass versus Big, I was pretty pleased with that, even though it was a loss.
Yeah.
And then we headed up into Cash, which is traditionally over the past year and a half been a strong map for us, and just got decimated. So it's like, wow, that let a lot of air out of the old expectations. And then we had to play FaZe in the lower bracket because FaZe had lost to Cloud9. And again, it was Train.
Yeah. We played it pretty close on Train.
Right.
Yep.
Again, first map, pretty close. We were battling. Def had a 1v4. And then we hit Cash again and 16-2 or something. It was like
we got wrecked.
Bending a little kid over a log and spanking him with a 2x4. Like, I don't understand how we can contend so closely on maps we've genuinely been weaker on and be so bad at a map where we, have been stronger. I guess that just goes to show you that changing out 2 out of 5 players makes the complexion of a roster very different. Overall, it was disappointing to me how ELEAGUE came out. There are glimpses of that provide hope, and the team's going over to Europe for a very, grindy, hardcore 12-hour a day boot camp, and I'm excited to see these veterans play after that boot camp. But our first 2 events of the year, we knew might be rough with a brand spanking new roster put together. We're just going to take them as experience and hope we can go over and improve this team. And then after the major, we'll be evaluating this roster again and going from there. So that's where we're at on Counter-Strike.
Kyle, I did have a quick question for you.
Yeah.
We're talking about the roster change with Big, and then we've seen multiple roster changes across multiple teams. We even saw the shakeup of, Astralis falling to Liquid, so on and so forth. Now with all these roster changes, we've seen so many different dynamic changes. Cloud9 back in the top 30. Where are our expectations kind of moving forward with so much, I guess, uncertainty in the air?
I think it's hard to say what our certain expectations are going into this major. As Jason's talked about, nothing is, at least for the time being, kind of a short-term solution. And this team has a lot of upside. There's a huge amount of experience, a wealth of veteranship on this team, some very intelligent players. Will we be able to have the raw gun skill? Will we be able to demonstrate that we're able to compete with the top of the world? Because you got to remember, when we go to the major, we're all of a sudden playing against the top 6 teams in the world. Dead stop. There's nobody there that is below top 16. Are we going to be able to hold our own there? Time's only going to say. There's also a very interesting format that's going to be held at the major these days with best of 3s in both promotion and elimination, as well as new seeding types. The seeding going to be controlled by ELO instead of Buchholz. So it's going to be interesting. Theoretically, it should take a lower ranked team like us and give us harder matchups on average.
Could end up with Astralis again right out of the gate, which seems to be our MO lately.
So we'll have to see. It's going to be interesting, that's for sure.
Well, Beef, I definitely want to stick with you as we continue to talk about one of your favorite topics.
It's Beef's Visa time.
Beef's Visa time.
Visa time
so
with Beef.
As we start talking about some of the new updates that's going on with our Dota roster, one of those new updates is Visa. So, Beef, what's going on with the Visas?
Beef is Visa.
Yep. That's about it. So, yeah, as we talked about a couple of weeks ago now, we were trying to figure out what we were going to be doing going into the major, playing opens, playing enclosed, getting everybody here. So update for everybody this week. We're filming this on Tuesday. By the time you guys watch this, we should have our Singaporeans in country. They're supposed to be hopefully flying down here on Thursday. Hopefully, hope, pray, knock on wood, do whatever you need to do, but hopefully we're going to have them here by Thursday. We are also trying to figure out what's going on with Adam as well. So Adam hopefully is going to be able to get his US visa in time, but if not, he should have a backup Canadian visa and he will be able to play from Canada. With that being said, we already did just breeze through the open qualifiers, so that's a big boon for us. And from there, we're going into the closed qualifiers.
For what?
Elaborate
for
the Dream League Major. You're correct. So the Dream League Major, that's coming up. And immediately after those qualifiers, we are going to Katowice. So meeting up with the CS team over there, playing ESL 1 Katowice while they're playing.
We have a lot of people
Major.
in Poland that week.
Oh gosh.
And I will be there myself.
There's going to be Fortnite there too. It's going to be crazy, man. So anyway, we got our major group today as well. We are playing with JStorm and Forward in our group, with EG on the other group. So it's gonna be interesting. We're gonna have to take out one of those top 15 teams globally in order to make it into the upper bracket.
Go Dota.
Exciting. So yeah, Katowice, there's going to be lots. There's going to be Fortnite there, Dota, and Counter-Strike. So we're going to be watching for that coming up.
And currently they're playing in, actually, like as we speak, they're playing in the ESL, I think it's ESL, Mumbai qualifiers. So Esports in India.
You going to India, Beef?
DreamHack.
DreamHack Mumbai?
DreamHack.
I don't know.
ESL 1 Mumbai.
I'm honestly not sure.
It's one of those two.
It's Esports Mumbai.
They blend.
Either way.
India's
it's
on my
India.
bucket list. We going to India?
Yeah?
We missed Japan.
We missed Japan.
We're going to be salty about that for a while.
Cultural experience in India.
Yeah.
I love Indian food.
We're going to be salty about Japan
See,
until we go to
I
Got to
Dota.
qualify first.
I love Chinese food, and I went to China, and I'm like, this is
I was gonna
Chinese
say, I don't
food
know.
I'm thinking of. So we'll see how India goes.
And quickly, before we start talking about some of our new exciting sponsorships, I wanted to be able to talk about, we have an event going on with Madden coming up. Beef, what do we have going on with Madden? It's kind of a big deal.
Daniel, what do we have going on with Madden?
Me, wow.
Daniel,
Yeah.
We got to
You're
get you
good.
in.
I'm
work
in.
sideways.
No, Drini, he grinded out and actually won to represent the Cowboys in the Madden.
let's
Club
go.
Championship.
How about them Cowboys?
So Drini, our Madden players, now representing our friends of the Cowboys, and all 32 teams right now in California will be represented with their winner and kind of grinding it out to see who's the overall Madden Club Championship winner and for their org. And I think we've looked at the bracket and it looks pretty favorable on our side. There's definitely some tough matchups. Drini gets day one off, which is always nice too, so it can kind of settle into it a little bit. And day two will be kicking off as a little bit tournament run, and kind of expectations are definitely high there.
Yeah, we're proud of Drini. Obviously, when we have a Madden player, and with our association of the Jones family and the Cowboys, we were really hoping he was going to make it. And
it's not a given.
No,
by
it's
any
not a
means.
given.
It's a tough tournament.
Yeah, he's a Cowboys club champion. So
Yeah, the crazy thing with Madden is there's no forgiveness. Right? Like that's why you have one bad game, you're done. It doesn't matter. There's no best of threes. There's no lower bracket. It's just you threw that pick, and it's kind of how it goes.
And we're going to be updating on social too. We're making a point to be able to get in front of you guys of all the updates and progress that Drini has going on this week.
Well, let's go, Drini.
Yeah.
for sure.
So back over to Daniel. Daniel, I'm very excited to talk about it. We had you on before, and you kind of were teasing a little bit about some of the exciting things and people that we're talking to. Now we finally get to talk about that. So I wanted to start off with one of the first things that was a lot of people were talking about that I was very excited to hear about was our partnership with Panini. So for people that don't know, can you walk us through exactly who Panini is and our integration?
And before he does that, I want to interject a little bit. For fans of ours that watch this, they might not be super familiar with Daniel. He's one of the people that kind of operates behind the scenes. But like Daniel said earlier in the show, he's one of the people, he's the person, charged with making the company money, because esports is all great, but if we don't make money, like, we won't be around much longer. And Daniel's been absolutely fantastic in just pounding the pavement and grinding and nonstop travel and meetings. Obviously a big way to generate revenue in the current esports team model is through sponsorships and partnerships. So, he's really been pounding the trail. We're super proud of him. He's been kicking a lot of ass. And these are just the beginning of what we feel is going to be a huge year on the revenue side of the business, which isn't interesting maybe to all our fans. But if you're pulling for the org or you're following esports in general, this should be really interesting stuff. So really proud of Daniel. He's kicking ass and excited to talk about his Panini deal.
Yeah, more teasing of things to come as always. No, Panini we're super excited about. They're the largest collectibles and trading card manufacturer in the world. They work with all the professional sports leagues in the U.S. pretty much, have full rights to the NFL, NBA. They have the MLB Players Association, EPL, FIFA World Cup, all these things. So as we look about what we're doing and obviously our relationship with the Joneses and the Cowboys and kind of the traditional sports world, there was a lot of synergies that we could really play into, knowing what they're doing. And as they see all of their athletes, especially the young ones, starting to game, it's a huge opportunity for them as well to kind of interact for it. So we were just out in LA last week. I was there for literally, I think, like 8 hours. But they had all of their top NFL rookies coming out. So everyone from Sam Darnold, the Jets, to Bradley Chubb of the Broncos, whoever it might be, these top echelon of rookies. Calvin Ridley, I made a Snapchat. Had a bunch of friends text me like, "What the hell are you doing, Calvin Ridley's Snapchat?"
Calvin was it was so cool.
I was like, what are you doing following Calvin Ridley's Snapchat? But the whole setup, when they're doing media interviews, we set up Fortnite, we set up Madden, we set up 2K for them. And they're all gaming the whole time and talking about how much they love gaming. So there's this really easy interaction of the two worlds coming together. We're sending out players as well to be at the NBA AllStar Game to be streaming with them. And as we see it, it's really kind of just bringing these brands together to help build content on both sides, their channel and the products they're doing, as well as our channels, and kind of helping our influencers get some love with kind of this mainstream athletes that we've seen worked well with Ninja and Drake or Juju or whoever it is. So really the opportunity there is kind of plugging into what they've already established themselves and giving them a lens into gaming.
Yeah, he did a great job with it. We've had a hell of a last 9 months, from Post Malone to the Cowboys training camp to, now working with Panini and then the NBA All-Star Game. So setting stuff like this up is just so big for our brand and provides a lot of value to our partners, because these partners all obviously are interested in esports and what we can bring to the table to add a little spice to their events. And it was cool.
Yeah, it was
I was
a fun
out
time.
there with you, and the tech team did a good job. We had Hogman out there, and looking forward to building on that.
Totally.
The big question I have, Daniel, is how many free packs do I get?
How many free packs have you gotten?
And I've gotten like 10-ish.
Oh, what did Soren win again?
I don't know what he got.
He's got Baker Mayfield rookie card
That's
that's
right.
signed, which I'm still tracking
Baker
down
Mayfield
for him.
rookie card.
I mean,
the jersey.
it's got the little jersey piece in it. I mean, it's
Those
fun.
are so cool, by the way, when they include like the little pieces of the jersey or pieces of that.
In the giveaway we're doing with Panini, there's a Dak Prescott card, rookie card that's signed, that has jersey, but then also a football. I think it was one of the touchdowns he scored. I forget. I have to look at the card again.
Did it cut the football up?
Yeah, it's got jersey, then football, then jersey. Like the stuff they sent us for this
crazy.
giveaway, I was like, can I just get a few Cowboys things? They're like, I opened it, I was like, what? But yeah, I mean, we brought home how many packs? We went over to their office and they just gave us these boxes.
It was
and
Christmas. It was literally Christmas when you brought those back.
Everyone's trading the cards of their favorite teams, like Soren, he wants his Cardinals cards, whatever it might be. It was fun. So we'll have some packs, a lot of our players getting packs, and kind of just seeing where their products go will be really interesting.
Yeah, it's
I love cards.
super cool new partnership, but not the only partnership we announced.
He's killing the transition.
Dude,
you want to just...
I'm taking notes. I'm writing these down on like how to do it.
It was a busy week. I mean, so we launched Panini on Monday, and then Thursday when I was in LA, we also announced HyperX right before iBuyPower is in our new CS roster. So, I mean, HyperX, it's another one of those conversations that's been going on for months, and we're just trying to kind of figure out the right time and the right opportunity to work together. But I mean, we're extremely excited to be working with them. Their large group of kind of gamers and influencers, again, kind of expanding out of the esports world. There's a lot of synergies aligned as well. They have an amazing new campaign, We're All Gamers, that fits exactly what we're trying to do and hit on our Cole Familia side of everything that's going on. I got to see their new truck they've got, and I think the goal is
That's at the Super Bowl,
It's the goal is to bring that here. Yeah, it's at the Super Bowl. So there's a lot of really exciting things there, and now all of our players and our streamers and everyone's hooked up with brand new HyperX gear. I mean, I've got a new headset at home, which I'm not complaining about. So it's been good, and they've been amazing to work with.
What's really interesting for me, as I worked with HyperX a little bit before I came here, is they were talking about working with traditional sports as well. And for a while, I was kind of like, how is this going to integrate? And being here at compLexity, I've been able to see it. So it's interesting to see Panini integrating from traditional sports to esports, and even HyperX working with that. Daniel, how do you think we're going to continue to work integration, working traditional sports and our brand and this whole ecosystem? How do you, just from a 10,000-foot view, how do you see it moving forward?
Yeah, I mean, these partnerships really help, and our relationship of our ownership group really helps. I mean, Jason mentioned other collabs we've done with Post Malone or whoever it might be, our guys out at NFL or at training camp with the Cowboys. So for us, there's a huge opportunity there, again, because as we've seen with rookies and Jason talking to them, there is that interest, right? For these athletes who can't really do much in their off time because they can't go out, they can't drink, they can't do things, a lot of time they're spending is gaming. So there's easy overlap there, and kind of the resources. I mean, look where we are now, and kind of the Cowboys headquarters, just the visibility and the assets that we have at our fingertips makes it really easy. But then the ability to continue to blend into the larger Cowboys organization and use these other partners to expand even farther out, that's important to us. So I think we'll concede to continue to grow. It's a big push of ours, is kind of just how do we embrace gaming as a whole and as an industry, not just specific to competitive and esports, but the wider scope of it. And, when you think about sports and athletes, there's a lot of parallels that are going on with everything we do. So it just makes a lot of sense.
So last time you were here, you teased us. Is there anything that you can say before we move on to the questions?
No, I mean, we have, I think as Jason said, we have a lot of good momentum going into 19 and even 20, and a lot of things that are starting to line up. And for us, it's been about building the right type of relationships and finding the right type of partners. So it's a long trek and conversation that have been going on for 9 months since I've gotten here, and it's going to continue for a while longer. And, the interesting thing about esports is there's no off season. So it's not like your Cowboys where you're selling around a season or you're selling around specific events. As people who listen to this show get it, as we talk about all the events we have going on, it's 24/7 for us. So it's just waiting for the right time for brands to come on. I think the HQ will open up a lot of new opportunities, a lot of new conversations that we're super excited about at the Star, but it's just kind of building those relationships and hoping for it. But I think 19, 20 will be some big years for us for sure.
Oh, perfect. Well, Daniel, thank you so much for making sure that I have money for great cameras and great things, and we can continue to make content.
I'm trying.
Yes.
Someone's got to keep the boat afloat.
That's right.
So it's that part of the show again where we're going to answer all the questions that you guys have taken to the internet and use the hashtag ColePC. So make sure you guys do that every single week. Like we said, we film this show every single Tuesday, so make sure you guys always use the hashtag ColePC to submit your questions. First off, we have this week, we have from our Discord, we have Rabbit. Did you guys watch the CWL Pro League qualifiers, and is there any chance of picking up one of the teams without an organization, or maybe buying one of the lesser funded organizations?
Yeah, I mean, it's no secret we're big fans of Call of Duty. We've been in and out of Call of Duty for over a decade. Love the game, love the players, love the fans, love the scene. It's a little tricky from a business standpoint right now. It's no secret they are looking to franchise Call of Duty. Think kind of like Overwatch League type of setup. There's not a lot of detail out there, but there's a lot of rumors swirling. So, we've been offered, frankly, a couple squads that are looking to sell that have league spots, and I've turned them down for the sole reason of I don't know that it makes a ton of sense for us to be in the game right now until we get more details on what this franchising looks like. We'd like to support a team. We'd like to support lots of different games, but everything has to have a business reason at the end of the day. And if we support a team, now a 5-man roster is going to cost a good amount of money, say for the next 9 months, and then end up not buying a franchise or not getting approved for a franchise or whatever. What did that 9 months really get us? Are we building on something, or is it just kind of a temporary thing? So for the time being, and of course that could always change, we're not going to be moving into CWL. Wish all those teams the best of luck, and look to learn more about the franchising situation, and further decisions will be made then.
And I just want to touch on this as well, because I interact with fans a lot, and I see a lot of things that fans say about, like, well, if you pick up a team, then you can just get sponsors for that team. If we have, okay, let's talk in hypotheticals here, 9 months, low-end salary, all-in costs, 9 months, $250,000 maybe for a 5-man Call of Duty team. You have them for 9 months. If at the end of that 9 months, any sponsors that you've brought in, Daniel, are gone because they were no longer in that game, are you able to make anywhere near that $250,000 to make it viable? Or is there so much lead time in acquiring those sponsors and putting together something, solving the right problems, that it's just not viable in most situations?
Yeah, and I think, right, you look at even just the game and how attractive that is to sponsors, or the lead time that goes. I think, as I was talking, no conversation happens overnight for us.
Exactly.
No one's coming in and saying, oh, you have Call of Duty. I have just money laying around that I was waiting for you to get into Call of Duty.
Wouldn't that be great, though?
I would be all for it. It'd make things a lot easier. But that's just not really how the world works. And, we talk about violent games and red blood games and issues that a lot of brands have right now with being associated with them. If you look at the sponsors of the league, or you look at the sponsors of some of these teams, you'll see that. Versus, League of Legends is killing it right now, especially in Europe with the brands, because it's a family-centric game, or family-friendlier game that just kind of lines up. So there's a combination of all these things. A lot of it's timing and making sure we have a lead time to sell, and then make sure we capitalize on it for more than 9 months, but also finding the right opportunities, that there's monetary interest that can kind of support our steps into the game. And it's not always going to be 1-to-1, and some are going to have more interest than others, but we want to make sure that there's at least a strategic lens and kind of looking at what we get into.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, Jason, like you said, love the game. We were watching our friends over at G2. They got eliminated.
Yeah, we watched.
Parasite over at the Knights. They got eliminated. FaZe got knocked out. That was crazy.
Yeah.
But what we do has to make business sense. And Call of Duty, for all the great that it is, it's a great game. We love being a part of it when we're in there. You got to make money on it as well. Got to have a business strategy around it.
For sure.
Cool.
Perfect.
All right.
Well, I always love.
Load.
Oh yeah, Jason, do you want to go ahead and read this one for me, since I'll be the one answering it?
You'll be the one answering quote?
Oh yeah.
Oh, the one at the top there. That's not Quode. That's Scode.
Yep.
Elevate Scode. Is there any specific route you'd want to take content-wise?
Oh, yes. Thank you so much. No, I'll just be real brief about this. Scode is actually very active and always comments on our stuff, and I really appreciate it.
Scode right above Quode.
Yeah, I love it.
He really complexity as a whole, we're wanting to be able to innovate everything that we do and be on the forefront of being able not to copy people, but in order to change the game in any way we can. And obviously content is one of those pillars of one way we're looking to be able to innovate. How we look to innovate it, how we do it, it's going to be like we do everything else. We're going to do it with facts, data, and testing everything. And with content, always you rip a little piece of your heart, a little bit of fun put into it. So content-wise, you're just going to be able to have to stay tuned to our social and our YouTube to see how that kind of progresses. But I'm really excited to see how the big changes that we are going to make moving forward content-wise. Because right now there is no one clear esports way to produce content. Everyone's doing it all a little bit different, and compLexity is definitely going to have its own flavor in how we do it. So thank you so much for the question. The next question we have is from Quode, from our Discord, coming off a good showing for the first LAN event with CSGO roster. How is morale entering the next few weeks leading up to the major? As an IGL, how does Stanislav feel with the flexibility of the squad and the alternatives he can call within the team's system?
That's a great question. This type of question is exactly kind of what I'm hoping press conference is going to evolve into. Ask us specific questions about our teams, our rosters, our sponsor deals, and things like that. So that's a great question. Coming off these first events, I think the team is by no means demoralized. I think more than anything it was a wake-up call. Like, hey, the teams we're playing are really, really good, and we're really going to have to put our nose to the grindstone and get after it. I was proud of the guys after they got knocked out of ELEAGUE. They went back and were reviewing demos. Usually after you're knocked out on an event, you go out, grab a beer or whatever and hang out and goof off. Well, no, they were right back to work. And they're going to need that mentality if they're going to get any wins at all at the major, because it's going to be super hard. I haven't talked to Stanislaw since ELEAGUE. I think they got back yesterday afternoon, and I haven't seen him yet. But I know that, with having a couple older, more experienced players in those slots where we've got nothing in Rika, he's real happy about that. Ye and Brad were great players in their own rights and bring a lot of firepower. Where they lacked, if they were lacking in anything, was kind of just that experience and the cognitive part of the game that comes from playing and just playing and paying your dues over the years. So I know Stan is very happy to be playing with Jordan. They talk quite a bit, and Rick is just really mature and just a very cognitive and intelligent player. So he's excited about playing with them, and we're just going to grind it out and do our best. But thanks for the question, Quod. That's a good one.
He actually has a secondary question that I'm going to ask for Daniel. What is the source of Shazam's laugh, and when the bottles of it will be on sale for public use for personal improvement in game?
That's a great question. I think if I knew the answer to that, I'd be a lot richer. I'd be selling that all over the place, and I think the world would just be a happier place in general.
Well, the legend is that actually the Spanish conquistadors came to the Americas in search of what they called the Fountain of Youth. In actuality, that was just Shazam's ancestors laughing.
Yeah.
So they've never found it, but Shazam managed to sneak out, and maybe we'll find that one day and bottle it up.
Yeah, it's great though. We love. I mean, it does well in everything, content, everything, and he embraces it too, which is great. He just kind of owns it, and yeah, I'll work on bottling that though.
How about that in a pickle video?
Oh,
You guys like that video?
It was great.
I ate one of those pickled jalapeno eggs.
Quail eggs?
No, not the quail eggs.
In a dare, or you just decided?
No, it was good. It was delicious, actually.
We had a staff member that was eating them like candy, and I was like,
eggs?
Yeah, the quail ones. And I was like, stop. You're destroying my concept of the show. This is not supposed to be pleasant, and you're doing this. But
Be a punishment.
All right.
Content-wise, creating a Shazam laugh / hashtag CSGO ASMR maybe on the book. We don't know.
There you go.
Next question we have from Twitter. We have King Monsta. What's your guys' relationship like with the Cowboys and the Jones family outside of business?
We're really blessed. The Jones family and the organization has really welcomed us with open arms. I mean, most of our interactions with the family and the organization are because of business, obviously. We're in their studio. We work with their sales team, their marketing, their social teams, their media teams, their legal teams, their financial teams, and they provide a lot of infrastructure and support for us. They've been nothing but fantastic to us since we got here. We're all still trying to figure out, like, how does an esports team, interact and intersect with an NFL organization in a way that really boosts everybody. And, that's very much a project that's ongoing. But, yeah, I can't say enough good things about how they've been treated. And if you watch POV year one, you would see a lot of that. Just the access we've been given and the support we've been given has been phenomenal. So
I will say I've heard that some of the leadership have a pickup basketball game that goes on.
Yeah.
I've heard it goes hard. I really got to get in
dunk?
there. I've been working on my layup.
There's been some injuries though in that game. I don't know if it's still going on.
Yeah, well,
after there's been some busted knees and ankles. And
that would be me. That would be me. Thanks for your question, King Monster.
And from Twitter, we have McNearly. And McNearly, she was asking specifically about the delays, the information, and about the security. She's asked about security a couple weeks ago as well, about events. I think we talked about that before. So thank you so much, McNearly, for asking that.
Yeah, appreciate the question. I think I did that one.
Next up, we have, again, Rabbit from Discord. Rabbit 2.
Rabbit.
2 questions. That's some fan elite points right there. What's the organization's opinion of big franchise leagues like OWL and LCS potential expansion spots for these leagues? Would the org be interested in getting into these leagues?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're of the opinion that a rising tide raises all ships, and we wish all these franchise leagues, that are investing a lot of money and working really hard, nothing but the best. The last thing we want to see is a major league fold similar to CGS back in 2008. We're obviously not in League right now or Overwatch right now. We have a very close eye on everything that's going in those leagues. We're following very closely along, and should it ever intersect with what we're trying to do, we'd be honored to become a member of one of them. We just, wish them the absolute best. And yes, we would be interested in getting into one or both of them in the future.
Daniel, do you have any insight into that you want to give on specifically on this question?
On that one specifically?
Yeah.
No, I mean, I think exactly what Jason said is spot on. We just watch it and want to understand kind of what the opportunity is, and we'll take a deep look and a deep comb through it to just make sure everything makes sense. But I think we always wanted to do well. I mean, anything in esports, we never want to see kind of issues arise because it just hurts the ecosystem as a whole.
Personally, the big franchise that I really want to get into is Farming Simulator.
Yes.
I was trying to.
Nice.
I'm digging for all the information that I can right now. So, Farm Simulator is compLexity. Are we in it?
$250,000. I mean, that's no small change.
EI Esports.
Oh my god!
I saw that on Twitter or something today. I was like, oh, that's good. No, it's on Reddit.
Is that the title? Is that the title for today's episode?
It might be. So last week we leaked we're getting into auto chess. This week we leaked that we're getting into Farm Simulator.
Auto chess is insane, although the patch today might have broken it.
Oh, boy. Oxy.
Up next we have Oxy from Discord. Is there an ETA on the completion of Cole HQ? Beef, and as if there's as it relates to sponsors, if you follow the cookie crumbs.
Build it faster, Beef. Build it faster.
At this point, we are looking at an opening date of sometime.
No, it'll be spring.
Yeah, spring. We're actually looking at September of 2026.
For some
spring
parts.
2020.
Spring 2026.
Every inch of it's being handmade by 3 individuals.
I mean, I think the key takeaway is you never know with construction, and we have some amazing things that are going into this HQ that we don't want to rush and kind of get out there too soon. So for us, it's just making sure that the quality and the standards there, and we're all learning quickly about construction projects. And
I will say, when it's done, it's gonna freaking blow people's minds.
I mean, I was in it this past week, and it blows my mind. And there's nothing really even in it yet. There's like
nobody's got anything
walls.
like this that I'm aware of.
So it's gonna be fun.
We're excited.
Daniel,
Got a window.
As the HQ, we've never actually had you in here and talked about HQ too much. We were talking about like the physical structure itself, but is there any insight that you can give us to, what might be in it, or like?
Probably some computers.
Yeah,
I
like
think computers,
or who like.
I mean, it's gonna mirror what we see here a lot at the Star, right? There's gonna be a high level of transparency. Our studio's gonna have glass doors. There's gonna be one-way glass in point. Like the whole key of what we're doing is, unlike any other esports team, it's going to have a very open to the public and high level of transparency, and it's what goes on here at the show. I mean, I will say, I know we have a content series kind of coming out in the near future that will highlight everything at its top level, and we have a big kind of rollout strategy of it, so I don't want to give away too much, but I think if you've kind of seen how we've changed the org since the acquisition from transparency and professionalism, and if you walk around the Star and you see the state-of-the-art technology they have and things like this, a podcast studio, it's just going to mirror that in its own right.
Yep.
Perfect. Well, we also have another question from Oxy for you, Daniel. Is there some kind of WinStar collaboration in the works?
There definitely is. I mean, I'm actually going up there on Thursday, so in 2 days, to catch up and meet with them. I mean, they have some interesting things coming up, like Pitbull concert and all these different opportunities. Tickets? I'm working on that. We want
promise tickets.
We want to tell that story and showcase it. I know I've been up there a few times. Some of our players have been up there, and we want to just make sure that story comes through. So there'll be definitely a lot of content coming out from us and them on kind of things we're doing with them, and still trying to figure out what exactly the full esports plan will be. But I know we'll hopefully have some boot camps and fan meetups, and definitely a lot of content.
I want to go golf. That's what I want.
Yeah, they told me the course isn't ready yet. I was see what I could do Thursday afternoon.
It's January.
A bundle.
Well, Daniel, also, will there be any physical playing cards, and then will there be packs or one-offs of
Panini
players?
Yeah, we're figuring that part out. I mean, that's what Panini does really well. We talked about jerseys being in cards and footballs. I want to get like a broken keyboard or mouse in some cards. So there'll be some cool stuff. I think we live in a world that's very digital focused, so it goes against the grain a little bit. But that being said, there's always a collectibles market. We'll be having some things. I definitely will see some Panini items around signing sessions of what we're doing event, kind of creating more of a brand around our players and telling their story through their capabilities. So it's coming. I don't know when exactly, but it's definitely on our roadmap with them.
I'd love to see, if you guys have made it this far in the video, comment down below what trading card you would want, what player you'd want to see. It'd be interesting to kind of see that. And we have our last question. This is from Man Deep from our Discord.
Man Deep.
What are the plans for the bench players from CSGO? Are we waiting out for the contracts or something else?
We're going to try to find them new homes sooner rather than later. We've been in communication with them and with a couple interested parties. Just being really transparent, we're running a business. We want to maximize our return for their contracts. We're still paying them each month, for their services, even though they're not on the active roster. There's probably going to be more shuffling going on after the major period, and we hope to be able to find them new homes sooner rather than later. Nobody likes the thought of quote unquote contract prison or whatever, but if we're going to professionalize this industry, we need to run it like a business. That being said, we're working very closely with them, and we want what's best for them, and we'll do right by them when the time comes.
Also, speaking of new homes, wanted to congratulate Rambo on his success currently at ELEAGUE.
He's trying out with
final?
Cloud9.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
it's
fun.
Wish
He's
Ron
up there.
nothing but the best. He's awesome.
Awesome.
I thought it was still just a trial.
Believe
I
me.
think it is still a try.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, but it's on the
Congrats,
Twitter.
Ron.
It's on the Twitter header. He's got the new picture up. You saw him there at
Wish
ELEAGUE.
Ron the
So
best. He's
We
awesome.
love Ron.
it was great.
That's it.
That's it. So thank you guys so much. Make sure you guys check us out next week, and we'll see you then.
Thanks so much. Peace.